Welcome to Influential Sports, where passion meets precision. As I'm your host, Ed, diving deep into the plays, players, and stories shaping the game. And this is episode 3 of We Outline, and episode 4 will be out on Friday. With episode 3, let's get into it. This one's going to be quick. It's not super long or anything like that. But this one for TNA, like I said, I'm going to be covering WWE, TNA, AEW, and AAA as well when it comes to these fantasy bookings. If you don't know what the Outline series is, it's explained in the playlist, but essentially a wrestler or wrestlers I think should go after titles and how I fantasy book them to get those championships. So in this case, the Hunters are the Gray Hands and the Ops are the Hardy Boys, and I'm gonna explain how we get there. So today is September 24th when I'm recording this. I think on Impact they should have a match against Eddie Edwards and Brian Myers, or you could do it against Moose and JDC to make it more meaningful with the feud that they could have going on with the system and in order for. And I think the Gray Hands, you get the win here. You don't even need Mustafa Ali to interfere, but he could play a factor. Maybe he dresses up as a referee and the system don't realize it and they try to get revenge against Ali in the weeks after that. And then this Friday at Victory Road, I would have the Gray Hands cut a promo since and a lot of pay-per-views, you don't get many promos, but I think this is a good way to build them up. And there's just a super quick how I'm doing this. So I think this Friday, September 26th, how I would book it, I would have them cut a promo, talk about how they want to go after the tag titles, talk about how they think they can handle the Hardy Boys or the Dudley Boys there to win the titles, and how they think that they're just two old, washed-up tag teams. Talk about how they beat the system, who was one of the most dominant factions until Order 4 came around. Just on the basis of that, let Jason Hodge and John Schuyler both do a little bit of talking. Don't even have Mustafa Ali or Tasha Shields come out there. Let them do the talking for themselves and really let them shine. Give them about 5 minutes to do their talking. Give them, because they get the fans a little break to go get face masks and stuff and get ready for the next match. Because you don't have a lot of those moments at pay-per-views, especially some of these smaller ones like a Victory Road. So I get the fans a little bit of time. Or I can get a popcorn, take a few minutes, then I get back and it's time for the next match. And not to put it in there just so people can skip it, but it gives your wrestlers a bit of a break too, allows them to get ready in case they need extra time. And it's gonna be a lot of people that do stay because it's a promo at a pay-per-view. It's not hella promos at pay-per-views unless the backstage segments. Let them come out in the ring, call out the Hardys and Dudley Boys. And then the Hardys and Dudleys can respond to it later on that Impact, or they can respond to it in separate backstage segments during that Victory Road or even in a press conference, which I don't think TNA does, but with their part. But I think it'd be smart if they started doing it. WWE does it, AEW does it, and then they got a partnership with WWE. So I think they could benefit from having press conferences to build some more stories from that. And then I just let that segment be what it is. Then on October 2nd, that episode of Impact, I will have the Gray Hands defeat the Aztec Warriors, which is that's Octagon Jr. and Laredo Kid. I would have them beat them in I had them beat them in a tag team match, just the Aztec Warriors, and them get into it in a backstage segment. And the Gray Hand, or it could be the Gray Hands in the promo. They said they'd take on anybody to prove that they're one of the best. And then the Aztec Warriors, since they're a part of AAA, you could have, and TNA and AAA have an active working partnership even before WWE bought AAA, and you can plan to that. And then they have then it's TNA versus AEW, and the Gray Hands, not AEW, AAA. Then the Gray Hands get the win here to build up some more momentum. And this is the second win they done got in a row. And then on Impact that following week on October 9th, I would just do a segment between Order 4 and the system, because they do have a match Bound for Glory. So I think before that, their last interaction with each other needs to be a promo. I don't think their last interaction needs to be a match. Like, you can have them wrestle on that October 2nd episode, because I don't think it's smart to risk anybody getting injured. So I just have people in the system and Order 4. If you're gonna have them wrestle on October 2nd. Then October 9th, you do a promo segment between the factions and all 10 people that's going to be involved in that match for Bound for Glory, which is October 12th. So that'll be 10 days of them not being in an active match, but they can use those 10 days to train and get ready for the match for Bound for Glory, since that's one of their biggest pay-per-views. But don't have anybody in those two factions wrestle on October 9th. Have them wrestle on October 2nd. If you want to, have them all wrestle throughout the show and be in different matches that intertwine with other storylines, and or just have them wrestle throughout that show, and then it's other wrestlers or matches that aren't as important as this one, because it's gonna be a lot of chaos in this match, which is why I say you need everybody ready to go. Like, you don't want to have a situation where somebody needs to be replaced and you got to remove somebody from the match. Like, you want, it's gonna be a lot of chaos in that 5-on-5 hardcore war match. So everybody needs to be ready for that, which is why I say have them wrestle 10 days before instead of having them wrestle 3 days before. And then October 12th, when it's time for Bound for Glory, have Order 4 defeat the system, but and I think Mustafa Ali could get the pin. If they win, Mustafa Ali is getting the pin, but I will let Tasha Steelz get it, assuming her and Alicia Edwards are in the match and they have history with each other. I think having the woman win in a match that's so flooded and crowded with men, I think that'll mean a lot for them, and I think that'll be a special moment. So I would have Order 4 get the win, and have Jason Hodge and John Scholar, the Great Hands, have significant roles in this match. Like, everybody's important, but obviously in matches with hella chaos, it's somebody that always feels more important than the other person. So I would try to make everybody look as important as possible. A hardcore war 5-on-5. I'm assuming the women are involved, so I say do about 30 to 35 minutes. Like, it don't gotta be like an hour or nothing, but have it be 30 to 35 minutes, and I think they can get some good offense in this way. And then at this point, the Great Hands be on a 3-match winning streak. Then October 16th, that following Impact, I would have, and then on Bound for Glory as well, the Hardys should retain against the Dudley Boys. They're promoting this as last time ever, and you can get and if you lose your title, you have a contractually old rematch. It's last time ever, so the Hardys don't need to lose and have a rematch with the Dudley Boys or Team 3D, whatever you want to call them. The Hardys need to win this, and they're actually active on the TNA roster, so don't give it to two part-timers. So, especially with Bully Ray, he got his own stuff going on. How the Hardys get this win, retain the titles at Bound for Glory. Then October 16th, Impact, Hardy Boys feeling themselves a little too much. They offer an open challenge, and the Great Hand accept. And then they cut a promo. They like, we've won our last 3 matches in a row. We got some big wins against some of the top names in TNA. In the hardcore war match, pinning the Aztec Warriors, one of the best teams from another company, and beating the system even before our match leading up to that. And then said, we can do that. The system has been more of one of the most dominant world champions in TNA history, and Moose. We like, best believe we can beat the Hardy Boys tonight. And the Hardys doubt them. The Hardys doubt they can do it. And then you have a clean 2-on-2 match, no interference, no Nimble Brothers involved, no Order 4 the system, nobody gets involved. And the Great Hands defeat the Hardy Boys clean. It puts them over as a tag team. It makes the most sense. I think this is a good way for the Hardys to lose. It'll be unexpected. They can get a rematch, and then that's when interference happens there to make sure they keep the titles, and that way they can't get another shot at the tag titles. I think the Hardys done a great job with the TNA tag titles the multiple times they've filled them, but I think the way you need to establish Order 4 is by having them win tag gold first. Then Tasha Steelz, she goes after the women's championship, or maybe she finds a tag partner to go after the Knockouts tag titles. And then Mustafa Ali, he can win a singles gold. I think for Order 4, for this entire faction to work, they have to fully go through with the plan needs to be Mustafa Ali is the last one to win a championship, because he has the power. He's the one that's coaching everybody. He's the one that's been a cruiserweight champion in WWE, X Division champion. He's the one that almost won Money in the Bank, so he's more accomplished than everybody in Order 4, and he's the one that had the longest tenure in WWE, because I can't recall the other people in Agent Zero, the Great Hands, Tasha Steelz. I can't recall them being in WWE. So it starts with the Great Hands were the tag team champions. Agent Zero, he's the X Division champion. Then Tasha Steelz, she goes after the Knockouts championship. Then I win the World Championship. And Mustafa Ali is the last piece of the puzzle. And I could dive deeper into this and how I booked the entire Order 4 to get all the gold and be the most dominant faction, but I think it has to start with the Great Hands. This is how we win the tag titles, and this is how TNA we establish another dominant tag team in the tag division. Somebody you got to look out for, because you got the Northern Armory, you got the Hardys, you got the Nimmer Brothers, you got the Rascals, who's another tag team that we can make it believable to be tag team champions, not just once, not just have it one time, to be multiple time tag champions. Maybe this is a way that the Great Hand split off from Order 4, then Agent Zero and Mustafa Ali team up, and then it comes down to Tasha Steelz and how she has to pick sides between the two. It's a lot of fantasy booking I could do with Order 4, but I think this is the one that I'm most interested in. I think the Great Hand should be the next tag team champions, and I think if you do that, you have to apply a story where it's like Mustafa Ali, he knows what he's doing, and this is how you lead up to this. By the first step is the Great Hands winning the World Tag Team titles. But this is episode 3 of We Up. So leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, comment what y'all thought about the Great Hands winning the title and how I booked it in just a short amount of time while still making it feel important. Share for others to see. Yeah, and let me know who y'all think should be the next TNA World Tag Team Champions, or let me know which wrestler or company you want to see me fantasy book for. Like I said, AEW, WWE, TNA, and AAA. Let me know who I should fantasy book for next. Well, not next, because I have a video planned for Friday about a AAA wrestler. So once I do that, I would have completed all 4 companies, and this series will continue. I'm doing 2 episodes per month of fantasy booking of certain wrestlers to win championship gold. So let me know after Friday who I should fantasy book for the month of October.